Alright, so Yoon's Talk number 5. This is a video where I just share with you my random thoughts, my random ideas, my experiences. So I just share them without nothing written. This is not a scripted or anything like that. I just share with you as my thought progresses. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about real quick, this hat, navy ball cap, you get it in boot camp. I guarantee you're going to wear it in boot camp towards the end of boot camp before you graduate, and you're going to look at other recruits and you're going to say, yeah, I'm done, I made it, because you're allowed to wear this towards the end after towards the graduation day. But anyway, I wanted to talk about some things, and the first thing that I wanted to talk about is I recommend that you try to feed some pigeons. I like to do a lot of different experiments, some stuff that I don't normally do. And I was sitting with a buddy of mine, and we were just eating burgers and fries. And it was around like 11:30. And these pigeons are very, very smart. They know when people eat, and they come swoop down and just kind of patrol the area to see if there's like food droppings. And I could see that, so I just threw some french fries to feed the pigeons and see how it goes. And it's funny at the same time cruel to see like all these, like there was like at least 20 pigeons like trying to get that one french fry and like fighting each other. And then there's like a little like a pit of where like 10 birds are trying to fight for the food, and like there's the other birds surrounding the area, and they're just looking at saying like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get anything, so I'm just gonna walk around the area. So I'm able to observe that and see how they react and see what kind of instincts and behaviors that they have. So in that aspect, I recommend you feed some pigeons. At the same time, I was observing this, and at the same time, I threw like 5 french fries at a time and see how it reacts. And from what I can see, these pigeons are very, very greedy. Like they would pick up the french fry and they would like run as far as they could, run as much as they can, like run away from everyone else. And then a bunch of pigeons are trying to follow them, and they don't want to share, and they want to eat the french fry by themselves, and they like try whatever they can, but by the end it happens like everyone gets to share. I don't know if it's like a pack thing, like they know if a food is in one place, everyone goes there, like. And then like suddenly the birds will disappear, and I'll drop food, and there's one pigeon, and like he will start pecking at it, and then suddenly like swarms of pigeons fly in, and like they suddenly magically know. I don't know exactly how it all happens, but it's a cool thing to see. So I recommend you feed some pigeons, okay? And also another thing that I wanted to talk about, recently I was running some errands outside, and I've got to, for a brief moment, got to interact and talk to a homeless guy. And it made me think. I was running an errand, and I needed to photocopy some documents, and I was standing there. I didn't have any cash, and the copy machine only accepted like change, and I didn't have any cash to put into the change machine to get some change. So I was looking around for someone to like I was to offer like, hey, do you have 15 cents? I need to make a copy of this. And then this guy, one of the guys, this random bystander, just came out, got a pocket of change, and said, here we go. And then I got my 30 cents. And then like a homeless guy randomly comes in and begs for change. And at that brief moment, I said this in my previous video, but I'm going to expand on it a little bit. And for that brief moment, I said to myself, wow, here I am. I'm worried about not having 30 cents for a copy machine. And I'm also wondering why isn't the copy machine accepting credit cards and all that kind of stuff. But here's this man that, I don't know exactly how his story goes, but maybe made some bad decisions or whatever. Here's this man, I don't know exactly all the things that he is worrying about, okay, but I know at least one thing. One of the things that this man is worrying about is food. And it made me really think, and it bothered me, the fact that I am able to live comfortably, and as you're watching, you're able to live comfortably, and there are people out there that are, freezing right now in the cold. And I was thinking about, what separates me from them. There could be a moment when I could be out there, but how can I separate myself and how can I prevent that from happening? What makes me so different? And in my opinion, it's the fact that what separates people out there from people like us, like you and me, is the fact that we have the opportunity of education. In my opinion, we are much more well educated. I can't really say that. I would say the better, much more educated that we are, the much more likely that we're not going to be living out on the streets. In my opinion, I would say people living out in the streets made poor decisions from the lack of education and the lack of resources and lack of knowledge. And I was just thinking about connecting point, is college valuable? A lot of people in our generation today, are asking the question, is college worth doing? Is college worth going to? And last year around this time when I was a civilian, and I was thinking about the same thing. I didn't really value education at that moment in my life. And I said to myself, you know what, college is the stupidest thing. I'll be in debt after I get out and all this here and that. But looking back, I can clearly see that education, it is extremely valuable. And my philosophy and what I believe is the more you know, the more valuable you become. And the more valuable you become, the amount of value that you have, you get paid accordingly. Okay? For example, the more lives of people you directly or indirectly affect, you will be paid accordingly. For example, let's say I worked in my old job at Hollister as a cash register, at the cash register. And on a typical day, let's say there's about 100 people. So I do a very, very basic job of directly affecting the lives of 100 people with a simple transaction from cash to close, right? And I get paid accordingly, which is like minimum wage. But for example, let's say a very successful person, let's say like Steve Jobs, he directly and indirectly affected the lives of millions of people. And as a result, he got paid accordingly, right? So my philosophy and why I believe education is so important and why I recommend reading a lot of books and why I have a mini library and I read a lot of books and I try to showcase I try to show you that I read a lot of books is because I want to try to influence you to read more, to be more educated in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be in finances. It doesn't have to be in what I'm interested in. I want to try to influence you to be much more educated in what you're interested in, because in the end, the more you know, the more better off you are, if that makes sense. So this is just like a rambling of my thoughts. Just sharing with you my random thoughts. So that concludes Yoon's talk number 5. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great Navy day.